I paid rent for 4 years. My sister moved in for free and got my room. You ever get hit with something so absurd that your brain just flat out refuses to process it for a few minutes? That was me, standing in the kitchen of the apartment I'd been renting for 4 goddamn years, hearing my mom on speakerphone casually say, "Sweetie, we've worked something out with Mr. DeMarco. He said it's fine if you move out next month so Ellie can take the apartment." Like she was offering me an extra cookie or something. Lee, my 21-year-old sister, moved in with her boyfriend 2 months ago, then decided she wanted her own space, but didn't want to pay for it. So my parents, in all their infinite wisdom, thought, hey, our older daughter's already done all the legwork, found an affordable apartment in a city where rent is actual hell, and paid rent on time for 4 years straight. Let's just shove her out and stick the younger one in. Makes total sense, right? Let me back up. 25F, moved to this mid-sized city right after college. I got a decent job, nothing glamorous, but it paid the bills. The real win was finding a 1-bedroom apartment close to downtown that wasn't crawling with mold or going for $1,800 a month. Mr. DeMarco, the landlord, was one of those old-school Italian guys who still handwrites receipts and calls you kiddo, but he liked me because I paid on time and didn't throw wild parties. 4 years I lived there. I decorated the place, got plants, made it feel like home. Enter Ellie. My younger sister and I never really clicked. She was always the golden child, the cute one, the sensitive one, the we have to protect her one. I was the one who just got on with things. We didn't hate each other, but I didn't like her either, you know. 2 months ago, she moved in with her boyfriend, some artsy dude named Dylan who unironically says things like vibe check and paints giant abstract canvases that look like someone spilled paint while sneezing. Apparently, cohabitation wasn't the dream she imagined. Shocker. So instead of, I don't know, apartment hunting like the rest of us mortals, she called mom and dad. Cue the back-channeling. Turns out, they reached out to Mr. DeMarco behind my back and offered to pay more rent than I was currently paying if he'd let Ellie have the place. And the guy said yes. I found out on a Thursday. I was making tea before work when Mom called. I put her on speaker, and she dropped the news like she was telling me the weather forecast. Wait, what? I asked, thinking maybe I'd misheard. Well, honey, she said with that overcompensating sweet voice she uses when she knows she's being a terrible person. It's just that Ellie really needs a place to stay, and we thought this was the most convenient solution. Mr. DeMarco said he's happy to have her. He knows she's family. She's not on the lease, I said. He's going to end your lease at the end of the month, she replied, like it was the most casual thing in the world. Don't worry, we'll help you find something else. I almost dropped my mug. Here's the part that really grinds my gears. I never asked my parents for rent help. Not once. I paid every month on time in full. I budgeted, worked overtime when I needed to, lived modestly. Meanwhile, Ellie crashes and burns after 2 months of playing house with Dylan, and suddenly, she gets a golden parachute straight into my apartment. Want to know what her response was when I confronted her? I texted her something like, "Hey, just heard from Mom. Are you seriously moving into my place?" She replied, no joke. "Lol, yeah, but don't worry, I'll take care of your plants." I had to take a walk before I responded, because the urge to go nuclear was strong. So now it's the last week of the month. I've packed up most of my stuff, found a tiny studio way farther from work with zero natural light and questionable plumbing, but it was the only thing I could get on such short notice. Mom came over yesterday to help me pack. She looked around the place and said, with a weird little smile, "You really made this place look nice. Ellie's so lucky." Yeah, lucky to have parents who throw their other kid under the bus for her. I wanted to scream, but I just nodded and said, "Guess so." My name was still on the mailbox. She threw out my mail. 3 weeks after I moved into my new shoebox of an apartment, honestly, I've seen larger walk-in closets. I stopped by the old place to pick up the last piece of mail I'd redirected late. A package from my bank that for whatever reason still went to my old address. I texted Ellie beforehand. "Hey, stopping by real quick today to grab a package. Should be in the mailbox or inside." She left me on read. No thumbs up, no okay, just saw it and ghosted. When I got there, the mailbox was empty, not even a flyer. So I buzzed. No answer. But I could hear the Bluetooth speaker thumping through the window. Dylan's terrible lo-fi beats on full blast, of course. I called her, straight to voicemail. I stood there for 5 minutes, then walked around the back and guess what I found? My open package, ripped, contents half scattered, sitting in the recycling bin. Yeah, she opened it. And tossed it. Now look, I could have just let it go. Called the bank, gotten them to resend the stuff. But something about the way she didn't even pretend to be civil. It lit something in me. I texted her again. "You opened my mail. That's literally a federal offense." She finally replied. "OMG chill, it looked like junk. Didn't know it was yours. Why are you so dramatic? No apology. No, my bad. Just gaslighting with glitter. So I called my mom. And I kid you not, she took Ellie's side again. You should have updated your address earlier. I was like, I did, that package just got delayed. Well, you don't live there anymore, honey. Ellie's adjusting. Don't make things harder. Adjusting? She got handed a downtown apartment for free and didn't even have to break a sweat to get it. Meanwhile, I'm living in a glorified basement with a neighbor who practices the saxophone at 11 p.m. It got worse. A few days later, my friend Jess, who helped me move out, sent me a photo. She was scrolling Instagram and saw Ellie's latest post. The caption: new apartment, new energy manifesting a fresh start. Fine, whatever. But in the carousel of photos, she had my couch, my throw pillows, my coffee table, and cherry on top. The big mirror I thrifted sophomore year and carried across 3 blocks because I didn't have a car. She didn't even ask. When I texted her about it, she replied, "Thought you didn't want them. You left them behind." I didn't leave them behind. I literally couldn't fit them into the new apartment and was planning to sell them. She never even asked. So I posted a story on my own IG, not subtweeting, not tagging her, just venting with a picture of the mirror and a caption. Wild how some people think manifesting means taking your sister's stuff without asking. Dizzy. Petty, maybe. But I was done being polite. Ellie saw it, obviously, because 10 minutes later she texted, "Are you serious?" And I just said, "Dead serious. Venmo me $200 for the mirror and table, or I'll show up with a U-Haul." Cue radio silence. Until Mom called. "Why are you threatening your sister?" That's how she started the call. No hi, no how are you. Just pure Karen mode concern for Ellie. I told her the whole story again. She barely listened. Then she said, "You've always been a little too attached to material things." I swear I almost laughed. Material things? Lady, you let your other daughter squat in my apartment and treat it like a free Airbnb. Then she hit me with the classic line, "Be the bigger person." God, I hate that line. It's always used by people who don't want to admit they pick sides. A week later, Ellie finally Venmo'd me. No note, no message, just $200. I donated it to a women's shelter. Then I sent her the receipt and said, "Since you're so into fresh starts, I figured someone else could use one." She blocked me. That's the thing about family. They can mess you up worse than strangers ever could and still expect a thank you card. But guess what? That's not even the end of it. Because 2 months later, Dylan broke up with her, and guess who they called? Me. 2 months later, she got dumped. Guess who got the 9 a.m. guilt call? I was sitting on my tiny balcony with instant coffee and an actual moment of peace when my phone buzzed. Mom. I hesitated, because, let's be real, no one gets a call from their mother before 9 a.m. unless someone's dead or emotionally melting down. I answered, "Hi, sweetie. Just wanted to let you know Ellie and Dylan broke up." Long pause. "Okay," I said, "and?" "Well, she's pretty upset. He asked her to move out." Still sipping coffee, still waiting for the actual point. Then she hit me with it. "Do you think maybe she could stay with you for a while?" I laughed. Out loud. Genuinely. "Let me get this straight," I said. "You're asking me to house the person who literally kicked me out of my apartment 2 months ago, stole my stuff, and blocked me after I asked for compensation." Mom did the thing where she sighed like I was being difficult. "Sweetie, she didn't mean for things to get so messy. She's just in a vulnerable place right now. She really needs her sister." Oh, now I'm her sister again. Please don't make this harder than it already is. "Did she even ask you to call me?" Silence. "Well, no, but I'm sure she'd be open to it." I hung up. I thought that would be the end of it, but nope. 2 hours later, Ellie texted me for the first time in over a month. "He threw out my stuff. I literally have nowhere to go." No hi, no sorry, just pure damsel energy. I didn't reply, though she sent another one. "Can't believe you're letting me be homeless over a mirror." Okay. First of all, she was not homeless. She still had the apartment, my old apartment. She just didn't want to be there alone. Second, a mirror. "Girl, you stole half my living room." But whatever. I texted back, "You're not homeless. You're just finally dealing with the consequences of your own choices. Good luck." Blocked her right after. Cue the next guilt campaign. Dad called that night, which was rare. He usually lets Mom handle the emotional stuff. But this time, he went full manipulation mode. "You know, family's all we have at the end of the day." Cool line, Dad. Where was that energy when I was sleeping on a busted futon next to a radiator that sounds like a dying walrus? "She's young. People make mistakes. She needs stability." Oh, Like the stability I used to have in my apartment before you helped her take it. That's not fair. No, Dad, you know what's not fair? Losing my home because my sister decided she was bored with playing house. He sighed, then dropped the cherry on top. You'll regret this one day. Let me be clear, I don't enjoy being cold. I don't get off on withholding help. I was raised to be the helper, the one who picks up the slack, the one who keeps the peace. But peace isn't real when it's built on resentment. And honestly, watching the golden child squirm for once felt like justice. 2 weeks passed. I heard through the grapevine Aka Jess, who still Loki stalks Ellie's IG for me, that she posted some cryptic stories. People will use you and then leave you when you're broken. One had a black and white selfie with dramatic mascara smudges. Another had a picture of a match burning with the caption, "Clean slate." Real subtle Ellie. Then something wild happened. Mr. DeMarco, the landlord, texted me. Hey, just wanted to check in. Your sister said she might be leaving the unit early. Any idea what's going on? So I called him. Apparently, Ellie had told him she wasn't sure she could stay because the energy of the place was too toxic. Now, the energy of my place. I swear to God. And he said something that nearly made me snort laugh into the phone. You were a good tenant. If she's out by the end of the month, wanna move back in. I moved back in, she moved out, and I let the door hit her on the way. I didn't reply to Mr. DeMarco right away. I needed to sit with it. The idea of going back at first felt weird. Bittersweet, maybe. Like taking back a gift you gave someone who destroyed it, then realizing, wait, this was mine to begin with. So I called him the next day. Yeah, I said, if she's out, I'll come back. And just like that, the reset button hit. Ellie moved out 2 weeks later. No goodbye, no apology. She just ghosted the whole apartment like it was cursed. Which honestly, for her, maybe it was. When I came back, she hadn't even cleaned the place properly. Trash in the kitchen, hair in the sink, that awful Dylan painting still hanging on the wall like a warning. But you know what I felt when I walked in. Relief. I closed the door behind me, dropped my bag, and sat down on the old couch. Yes, my couch. The afternoon light hit the window just right. I could still smell the faint trace of the candle scent I used to burn, lavender and sandalwood. It was like the space recognized me again. Mom found out I moved back in because apparently Ellie cried to her about it. She called. I didn't pick up. She left a voicemail. I don't understand why you're being so harsh. She's your sister. I deleted it. I didn't owe her closure. I didn't owe her understanding. I didn't owe anyone a damn thing. The best part. A week later, Ellie posted a story of her new place. A room in some shared apartment out in the suburbs with 4 roommates and a chill no pets PLZ sign on the fridge. Caption. Starting over, no more toxicity. Sure, girl. So here I am, 6 weeks later, back in my apartment. The walls are a little scratched, the vibe slightly haunted, but it's mine again. I replaced the Dylan painting with a cheap print that says, "No" is a full sentence. I water my plants. I read on the couch. I sleep better. It's quiet now, and not just the kind of quiet where the music stops. The kind that settles into your bones and makes you remember what peace actually feels like. I'm done explaining myself. I'm done being the bigger person. I'm just done. Family isn't who you're born to. Sometimes, it's just who you learn to walk away from.